Sorry I'm late. I was reading about the differences between an optimist, a pessimist, and a chemist. An optimist would say that this glass of water is half full. A pessimist would say it's half empty. A chemist would say that this glass is completely full. Half in the liquid state and half in the vapor state. Chemist. Oh, and gee, I guess I'm not a chemist because to me, every time I look at it, the glass is always half empty. Well, welcome to Chemistry with Mr. B. Today, I'm going to reveal the answer to the goldfish phenomenon. Remember from lesson 2, I gave you information about if you took a goldfish and you measured the water level inside a container, like a glass or beaker, and then you added the goldfish and measured the water level again, you'd see that the water level had not changed. It was exactly the same. Now, I've received so many comments from people saying, this isn't true. That's not true. There's no way. So I thought I'd prove it to you doubters out there by doing the exact experiment that the professor of biology did at the Sorbonne University in 1908 when he reported this finding. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to take this beaker, actually it's a pharmacist beaker, or they call it a pharmacist decanter, and I've already set it so that there's exactly 3, the water level is exactly on the 3 line. Let me move it in here, and we can zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Right here, and let's put this behind so you can see the numbers. Right there is the number 3. 4 is up here, see the marking, and then there's halfway. So this is set exactly at 3.0. So now I'm going to take my goldfish over here. This is my goldfish, AU, AU as in the chemical symbol for gold. And I'm going to add him to the container. Now I want to be careful not to take any water out of here. So I want to shake it off of AU. Come on, boy. Come on. Hey, come on, buddy. Come on. All right. I'm going to shake. Whoa, missed him. Going to shake. Come on, AU. Hey. Shake it off and very carefully add him without splashing in there. There you go, buddy boy. All right. I'll get you out of there in a minute. All right. Let's go back and see what the water level is. Now, let's see here. Let's kind of zoom in a little bit. Right about there. And let's put this behind to see. Oh. What? That's interesting. If you look at it, there's the line for 3, right where my finger is, and it looks like the water level's, looks like it's up above 3 now. It looks like it's halfway between 3 and the 3.5. That's interesting. This is kind of awkward. Oh. Well, all right. I gotta confess. The information I provided you was incorrect. The water level, just as you expected, goes up. All right, let me get my guy AU back into his bigger container so he has some more air. All right, there you go, buddy boy. All right. Yeah, so the information was incorrect. And that's exactly what the professor of biology did to his students in 1908. So I've been doing it to my students ever since my very first year of teaching chemistry in 1981. And, what the thing is, no matter who you are and how well educated you are, it kind of, when you first hear it, you go, what? That's not right. That's weird. I mean, even myself, when I first heard it, I was perplexed. I'm like, what? And then I started thinking, well, then maybe it's something unique about the goldfish. It's some special thing. I don't know. Maybe, exceptions do happen. So, and then you start rationalizing things, and then, you go down a rabbit hole. Well, over the years, I've been collecting data because I had my students explain what, their reason. And in the 1980s and 1990s, in that time period, I had about 1,500 students, roughly. And out of those 1,500 students, only 4 of my students, 4 of them, they'd obtain a goldfish and actually do the experiment and tell me that I was incorrect. Tell me I was wrong. And that of those 4 students, they were all female. Interesting fact. Another interesting fact is the student in 1908, the one student who challenged the professor on this was a young girl, 10-year-old girl named Irene Curie. She was the daughter of Marie Curie. And she actually got a goldfish, did the experiment on her own, and she went in and she told the professor he was wrong. A 10-year-old telling a teacher she's wrong? He's wrong? I mean, she was precocious. And she later went on to win the Nobel Prize in 1935 in chemistry. So, and during this period of about 1,500 out of my 1,500 students, 3 to 5% of the students would actually say it's wrong. It can't happen. And they'd offer me all kinds of information about how when you add an object to water, how the water level will go up. And they justified it by that way. But they didn't actually do an experiment. I mean, they didn't test it with a goldfish, just with other things. And about 6 to 10% of my students would say that it can't be true, it's not right, but then they come up with some alternative hypothesis as to what happened. Why goldfish? Like they have a swim bladder, or they take in the water goes inside their body. Of all those times, there were 3 stories that really stood out. And they're my favorite ones involving my students. The first story involves a student who, in my very first year of teaching, I was new, inexperienced, and new to the school. And when I told this information, this girl said, "You're wrong. That's not true. It can't be true." And she was determined to show me that I was wrong. So she went out and she bought a goldfish, she did the experiment, and she came in and told me I was wrong. I mean, she was really happy about that. But I got to tell you, I mean, it's not a good way to start earning the trust of your students from the very beginning. But anyway, my second story was a student that her parents wouldn't let her buy a goldfish, so she went to the mall, went to the pet store, and convinced the manager to let her borrow a goldfish so that she could do the experiment. And she did it in the back of the store and found out this information that the water level does go up. And then finally, there was a student that had a goldfish at home, so she brought it in and she did it in front of the class, and so the whole class got to see it. Now, as a chemistry teacher, I like reactions. So the typical kind of reaction I would get from my students when they'd find out that the water level, when I tell them the water level goes up, is, "What? You lied to us? I mean, how are we supposed to believe anything you tell us?" Gee. They'd be mad and stuff. And, I got to tell you, as a young teacher at the beginning, I was kind of uncomfortable, doing this because, you want your teacher, the students to kind of believe in you and trust you. But anyway, I continued doing it because I wanted them to see, the lesson was that I wanted them to see that when scientists hear things and they suspect the information is not correct or they don't agree with it, that they do experiments to test it. Sometimes those experiments confirm that information, and other times that information, as enough scientists do the experiments, they realize that this information is incorrect. And that's how we kind of keep it real, So, that's it. I mean, but the thing I like about the goldfish problem is that it's within a person's means to maybe go out and get a goldfish and actually do the experiment. It's not that difficult. I got this guy for 52 cents. It was a bargain. Of course, he was a rescue fish. He was in the tank where all the fish these little goldfish were going to be fed to other fish. So I kind of saved his life. He's got a nice home here. Anyway, but in real life, it's really hard when we have scientists or engineers or doctors giving us information. It's hard to determine whether that information is correct or not. All right, that's the tough part. Like, how do we, we just have to do our best to learn as much as we can to find out what information is and get different resources to help us. So, lastly, just a little interesting information I find. In the first 2 decades of this century, my students that I've had, none of them ever gone out and bought a goldfish or even tried it with a goldfish. They never challenged me on that. And less than 2% of the students would actually challenge me and say, that's not correct. Most of them accepted it and came up with alternative hypotheses to explain something. Now, maybe they didn't know, but I thought that was an interesting thing. So, there's the bell. Well, it's been another great day in the lab. Thank you for watching, and please tell a friend about Chemistry with Mr. B. And remember, old chemistry teachers never die. They just fail to react. All right. Have a great day. Wait, you're still here? Oh, you want a chemistry joke? Okay. All right. Neutron walks into a bar, asks the bartender, how much for a drink? For you, the bartender says, no charge. No charge. No, you get a neutron, no charge? I'm not getting the reaction I was hoping for, guys. All right. Well, good luck with your day and break a beaker.